Someone rightly introduced these lines to me some time back that UPSC preparation is not about clearing an exam, it is about becoming worthy of responsibility that lies ahead. This entirely changed my perspective towards this exam. So, hello and welcome back. Today we are starting Indian Society, which is a topic under GS1 of UPSC CSE mains syllabus. A very important subject. It offers benefit that go far beyond just scoring marks in GS1. It strengthens answer writing across papers. It helps in essay, ethics, and even in interview because it includes crucial topics like globalization, urbanization, social empowerment, issues that women face, family, caste, etc. There are about 65 PYQs which have been segregated topic wise. First topic that we are doing is Salient Features of Indian Society, Diversity of India. Let's look at the PYQs first. The first question is describe any four cultural elements of diversity of India and rate their relative significance in building a national identity. This was asked in 2015. Then in 2017, the spirit of tolerance and love is not only an interesting feature of Indian society from very early times, but it is also playing an important part at present. Elaborate. Then third question, what makes Indian society unique in sustaining its culture? Discuss. Then fourth question, customs and traditions suppress reason, leading to obscurantism. Do you agree? Question number 5. Why is India considered a subcontinent? Elaborate on answer. Then, how does Indian society maintain continuity in traditional social values? Enumerate the changes taking place in it. Then, question number 7. Analyze the salience of sect in Indian society vis-a-vis caste, region, and religion. Then, question number 8, which was asked in 2023. Do you think marriage as a sacrament is losing its value in modern India? Then, question number 9, which was asked in 2024. Some kind of relationship between intercaste marriages and interreligious marriages. Question number 10. Critically analyze the proposition that there is a high correlation between India's cultural diversities and socio-economic marginalities. Now let's see some basics, then we'll write answers one by one. Indian society is an exemplification of multicultural, multi-ethnic, multi-ideological constructs which coexist, striving to strike harmony and also retain its individuality. So अगर हम टाइम स्केल की बात करें, so Indian culture has been modified continuously with times, making India composite culture. So अगर हम ऋग्वेदिक की बात करें, so there was a division of society into Aryans and non-Aryans, which is mentioned in Rig Veda, and the Aryan society was further divided into Brahmins, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas and Shudras. So ये ऋग्वेदिक की बात हो गई. Then अगर हम medieval period की बात करें, so 12th century onwards, the Indian rulers of medieval India brought new norms whereby Indian culture went through transformation, influencing language and culture. The confrontation of Hindu and Muslim cultures led to the synthesis with interesting results and mixed culture. For example, as a result of this, there were Sufi writings, then there was Bhakti movement, then Kabir Panth, etc. Now, अगर हम British period की बात करें, so it marked the beginning of a new phase of re-emergence of pan-India culture and national and social awakening through the process of modernization. For example, railways and then telephone lines. So there was a re-emergence of pan-India culture. Then if we look at the post-colonial period, so India today is amalgamated into different caste groups, religions, race tribes, linguistic groups, etc. It glorifies the ideals of liberty, equality, fraternity as its goal in a secular and socialistic framework. Then if we talk about salient features of the Indian society, that is diversity of India. So Indian society is multi-ethnic, multilingual, multi-caste, patriarchal society we have. Then we'll see about kinship, marriage and family, then tribes, and we also have unity in diversity. सो इफ़ यू टॉक अबाउट मल्टी एथनिक सोसाइटी, सो मल्टी एथनिक सोसाइटी कौन सी होती है? अ सोसाइटी विद द को एग्जिस्टेंस ऑफ वाइड वेराइटी ऑफ रेशियल ग्रुप्स। जैसे अगर हम इंडिया की बात करें तो इंडिया इज़ अ होम टू ऑलमोस्ट ऑल रेशियल प्रोफाइल्स ऑल ओवर द वर्ल्ड। अगर क्वेश्चन स्पेसिफिकली मल्टी एथनिसिटी पे आता है तो हमें मैप बना सकते हैं, और वैसे भी अगर टाइम एंड स्पेस अलाउ करता है तो हम ये मैप डाल सकते हैं। जैसे कि मोंगोलाइट्स की बात करें तो ये नॉर्थ ईस्ट में है मेजरली, देन नॉर्डिक्स हमारे सेंट्रल इंडिया में है, देन आर्यंस की बात करें तो स्टार्टिंग इन्होंने नॉर्थ वेस्ट इंडिया से की थी, लेटर ऑन दे स्प्रेड ऑल ओवर द सब कॉन्टिनेंट। देन द्रविडियंस लार्जली साउथ इंडिया में है। देन अगर हम नेग्रिटोस की बात करें तो कुछ सेक्शन साउथ इंडिया में है एंड कुछ अंडमान निकोबार आइलैंड में भी हैं। देन इफ़ यू टॉक अबाउट मल्टीलिंगुअल सोसाइटी, सो language is a dominant source of identity, so much so that the present form of Indian states represents the linguistic map of India. So इसमें Constitution of India recognizes 22 languages and we have more than 1600 local languages that are spoken in India. Then अगर हम मेजर लैंग्वेजेस की बात करें तो सबसे ज़्यादा बोली जाती है हिंदी। हिंदी में अप्रॉक्सीमेटली 50% of the people speak Hindi in India. Then we have Bengali. Approximately 10% of the people speak Bengali. Then we have Marathi. 8% of the people speak Marathi. Then Telugu, then Tamil, then Gujarati. So here we have one correction. It's not multi-caste. Caste को हम एक separate topic में देखेंगे. It is multi-class. So India also has a multi-class society. The emerging class system, though closely resembles the caste hierarchy, but it has provided downtrodden opportunities for upward social mobility. जैसे इंडिया में जहाँ पे कास्ट बहुत स्ट्रिंजेंट फैक्टर है वहाँ पे सोशल मोबिलिटी अलाउड नहीं है। बट अगर हम क्लास की बात करें, क्लास बेसिकली इज़ कि अपर क्लास, मिडिल क्लास, देन लोअर क्लास। तो कास्ट में तो मोबिलिटी पॉसिबल नहीं है बट क्लास में मोबिलिटी पॉसिबल है। जैसे कि अगर लोअर मिडिल क्लास या लोअर क्लास से भी कोई ऑफिसर बनता है तो उसकी फैमिली को सोसाइटी एक अपर क्लास का दर्जा दे देती है। देन वी हैव अ पेट्रियार्कल सोसाइटी where men tend to enjoy greater status than women and hold primary power. However, there are some tribal societies that are matrilineal. For example, Khasi in Meghalaya and Nayars in Kerala. और पेट्रियार्कल सिस्टम का इम्पैक्ट क्या हुआ है इंडिया में? द women have been denied opportunities for growth in the name of religion and socio-cultural practices. So because of their low standing in the society, there are rape, murder, dowry, then domestic violence, discrimination. So these are all commonplace as expression of male dominance over women. And we can also see one data point that the adult male literacy rate still surpasses the female by 17%. So kinship refers to a set of relationships and relatives formed thereof based on blood relation or marriage. They are essential organizing component of society. Then if we talk about marriage, so marriage is an important social institution, relationship socially approved and sanctioned by the custom and law. It can also be considered as a set of cultural mechanism that ensure the continuation of the family. Then if we talk about कि marriage as an institution में भी recently क्या स्ट्रक्चरल एंड फंक्शनल चेंज हुए हैं। सो इसमें बेसिकली क्या हुआ है, जैसे अगर हम एम्स एंड पर्पस देखें कि पर्पस क्या है मैरिज का, तो जो पहले था इट वॉज अ ड्यूटी टू मैरी, इट वॉज अ धर्मा अमंग्स द स्पेशली अमंग द हिंदूज। देन अगर मॉडर्न में देखें तो लाइफ लॉन्ग कंपेनियनशिप के लिए लोग मैरिज करते हैं। दे बेसिकली सी मैरिज एज अ लाइफ लॉन्ग कंपेनियनशिप। देन फॉर्म ऑफ मैरिज हैज़ ऑल्सो गॉन सर्टेन चेंजेस। जैसे पहले पॉलीगैमी होता था बट नाउ इट इज़ प्रोहिबिटेड। देन इफ़ यू टॉक अबाउट एज, सो पहले चाइल्ड मैरिज इंडिया में होती थी, देन अभी क्या है, करंट एज फॉर बॉयज़ इज़ 21 एंड फॉर गर्ल्स इज़ 18। देन देर हैज़ ऑल्सो बीन इंक्रीज इन डिवोर्स रेट्स एंड डिजर्शन रेट्स। और एक बहुत ही इंपॉर्टेंट कॉन्सेप्ट है लिव इन रिलेशनशिप। सो देर हैज़ बीन अ स्टीडी ग्रोथ रेट स्पेशली अमंग द यूथ इन मेट्रोपॉलिटन सिटीज़। देन इफ़ यू टॉक अबाउट फैमिली को अगर हमें डिफाइन करना हो तो इट इज़ अ बेसिक यूनिट ऑफ सोशल ऑर्गेनाइजेशन. इट इज़ फॉर्म्ड बाय कंपेनियनशिप ऑफ द हस्बैंड एंड वाइफ who procreate children. Then if we talk about tribes, so tribes can be classified as a group of homegrown people tied by a strong kinship bond, practicing endogamy, distinct customs, rituals, and beliefs. They have common ownership of resources and technology. So basically, there are over 730 scheduled tribes in India, and approximately 6% of India's population is scheduled tribe, according to 2011 census. और इनके अगर हम एग्जाम्पल्स की बात करें ट्राइब्स के, जैसे गड्डी ट्राइब, जॉनसरी ट्राइब, देन नागा ट्राइब, गारो खासी इन मेघालय. अगर हम मिडिल इंडिया की बात करें सो वी हैव मुंडा एंड संथाल. वेस्टर्न इंडिया की बात करें सो वी हैव भील ट्राइब. अगर हम साउथ इंडिया की बात करें तो वी हैव टोडा ट्राइब एंड चेंचू ट्राइब. जैसे अंडमान निकोबार है तो यहाँ पे कौन सी ट्राइब मिलती है? फॉर एग्जाम्पल जरावाज. Then if we talk about unity in diversity, in India, people of different cultures have continued to respect the ideals and values of people of different religions. The factors that have contributed to unity in diversity are, there are geographical factors, then we have cultural factors, then we have religious factors, then political factors, then language factors. So we'll all see in the questions in the PYQs that will solve. और अगर हम एग्जाम्पल्स की बात करें तो हम शंकराचार्य एंड विवेकानंद का एग्जाम्पल लिख सकते हैं. जैसे कि शंकराचार्य ही बाउंड द होल कंट्री टुगेदर बाय आस्किंग द प्रीस्ट ऑफ साउथ इंडिया टू वर्शिप इन द टेम्पल्स ऑफ नॉर्थ इंडिया एंड वाइस वर्सा. देन स्वामी विवेकानंद की बात करें सो ही हिमसेल्फ बीइंग अ हिंदू ही रेड एक्सटेंसिवली अबाउट बाइबल एंड टॉक्ड अबाउट इट एट द वर्ल्ड पार्लियामेंट ऑफ रिलीजन्स इन शिकागो. और अगर हम इसके इम्पोर्टेंस की बात करें तो इसका इम्पोर्टेंस क्या है? देयर इज़ अ सेंस ऑफ वननेस एंड वीनेस. देन इट ऑल्सो बूस्ट्स द मोरल ऑफ पीपल एट वर्क प्लेस, ऑर्गेनाइजेशन एंड कम्युनिटी. इट इम्प्रूव्स हेल्दी ह्यूमन रिलेशंस एंड प्रोटेक्ट्स इक्वल ह्यूमन राइट्स फॉर ऑल. इट गिव्स वैल्यू टू रिच हेरिटेज, स्ट्रेंथन्स द कल्चरल हेरिटेज ऑफ इंडिया, एंड इट गिव्स राइज टू द हैबिट ऑफ नेशनल इंटीग्रेशन अमंग पीपल. सो ये सैलिएंट फीचर्स ऑफ इंडियन सोसाइटी हैं. इसमें एक पॉइंट, इसमें काफ़ी सारे पॉइंट लिख सकते हैं और भी होंगे. एक पॉइंट जो थोड़ा और है दैट इज़ वी हैव अ रिलीजियस डाइवर्सिटी ऑल्सो. इन इंडिया रिलीजन होल्ड्स utmost importance, we all know. Hence we got the title of land of spirituality and philosophy. So we have Hindus with approximately 79% of the population. Then we have Muslims, 14% of the population. Then we have Christians, 2.32% of the population. Then we have Sikhs, 1.7% of the population. Then Buddhist, 0.6% of the population. And then we have Jains, 0.4% of the population. So we have a religious diversity also, जो हमें और कहीं भी देखने को नहीं मिलेगी. So this was the basic overview of our Indian society and diversity in India. तो ये भी बेसिक कंटेंट था एक समझ लेने के लिए. और कुछ जो कंटेंट बचा है या कुछ पॉइंटर्स जो मिस हुए हैं वो जानबूझ के मिस किए हैं बिकॉज वो हम PYQs में कवर करने वाले हैं. So the first question was, describe any 4 cultural elements of diversity in India and rate their relative significance in building a national identity. Now if we look at this question, the introduction can be, India's national identity is a composite identity shaped through coexistence and accommodation of multiple cultural diversities. So first we have linguistic diversity. So as we had discussed that we have 22 scheduled languages. And how does it help in national integration? So linguistic reorganization of state and constitutional safeguards have strengthened the democratic participation. The religious diversity की बात करें, so India is a birthplace of important religions like Hinduism, Buddhism, Jainism, and Sikhism, and the principle of Sarva Dharma Sambhav and constitutional secularism promote peaceful coexistence and shared ethical values. Then festivals, customs and tradition की बात करें तो festivals such as Diwali, Eid, Christmas, then Pongal, Baisakhi, they are celebrated across communities nowadays, and they encourage intercultural integration, strengthen emotional bonds at grassroots level. Then cultural element के अंदर और क्या आ जाएगा, which is art, music and dance forms also. So India has diverse classical and folk traditions that reflect regional histories and contribute to India's rich cultural heritage. The national promotion of art fosters cultural pride and shared global identity for India. So क्वेश्चन में पूछा था कि स्टेट देयर रिलेटिव सिग्निफिकेंस इन नेशनल इंटीग्रेशन. सो जो लिंग्विस्टिक डाइवर्सिटी है एंड रिलीजियस डाइवर्सिटी है, दे प्ले द मोस्ट डिसाइसिव रोल in shaping India's national identity. And if we talk about festivals and art and music dance forms, so they provide emotional and symbolic cohesion. So हम conclusion में लिख सकते हैं, together these elements sustain India's enduring ethos of unity in diversity. Then if we talk about the second question, which is the spirit of tolerance and love is not only an interesting feature of Indian society from very early times, but it is also playing an important part at present. Elaborate. Now हम इसका introduction कैसे लिख सकते हैं? So the spirit of tolerance and love has been a defining feature of Indian society since ancient times. So इस क्वेश्चन को हम टेम्पोरल एस्पेक्ट से देख सकते हैं कि अर्ली हिस्ट्री में क्या था, देन मेडिवल पीरियड में क्या था, देन मॉडर्न एरा में क्या था, और कंटेम्प्रेरी भी पूछा है. सो कंटेम्प्रेरी ऑल्सो. सो वी कैन डिवाइड दिस क्वेश्चन इंटू 4 पार्ट्स. सो अगर हम अर्ली हिस्ट्री की बात करें, सो इंडियन फिलोसॉफिकल ट्रेडिशंस एम्फसाइज्ड कोएग्जिस्टेंस एंड रिस्पेक्ट फॉर डाइवर्सिटी. फॉर एग्जाम्पल कॉन्सेप्ट सच एज Vasudhaiv Kutumbakam. Then religions originating in India like Buddhism, Jainism, they stressed non-violence, compassion and tolerance. Similarly, the Hindu philosophy allowed multiple paths to truth, reinforcing acceptance of diverse belief. So we can quote these examples. During the medieval period, the Bhakti and Sufi movement, they played crucial role in promoting love and social harmony. So saints like Kabir, Nanak and Chaitanya, they emphasized devotion, equality and humanity over rigid rituals and sectarian divisions. So this also led to the emergence of syncretic traditions like Ganga Jamuni culture. Modern era की अगर हम बात करें, so this spirit found institutional expression through India's constitution, which guarantees freedom of religion, equality before law, secularism, etc. And again, leaders like Mahatma Gandhi, they reinforced ideals of non-violence, tolerance and mutual respect. Now if we talk about contemporary aspect, so even today tolerance and love, they remain vital in managing India's immense diversity. For example, shared celebration of festivals, then interfaith dialogues, then community level cooperation during crisis, such as collective efforts during COVID-19 pandemic. So they demonstrate social solidarity. Now iska conclusion. So the spirit of tolerance and love is not merely a historical legacy, but a living social force essential for maintaining unity, harmony, and democratic resilience in contemporary Indian society. Third question, what makes Indian society unique in sustaining its culture? Discuss. पहला पॉइंट हम ले सकते हैं मल्टी एथनिक एंड मल्टीलिंगुअल फैब्रिक ऑफ द इंडियन सोसाइटी. जैसे कि देयर आर न्यूमरस एथनिक ग्रुप्स, लैंग्वेजेस दैट को एग्जिस्ट विच एनेबल कल्चरल रेजिलियंस even as India modernizes. Then balance of tradition and modernity. So despite urbanization, traditional values around family and community persist alongside modern education and technology. Then we have strong social institution, for example, family, kinship, rituals, caste structures. Despite challenges, they act as a carriers of cultural continuity. Then adaptability and synthesis. जो Indian culture है, it has absorbed external influences. For example, Persian music in Hindustani tradition, without losing its core identity. Then we have shared cultural motifs, for example, Atithi Devo Bhava and Sarv Dharma Sambhav that we discussed in the earlier question. We have also have shared cultural values, for example, respect for elders, hospitality, festival culture, that are common across regions. Then some other points that we can write in this question are that there is also a role of religion and philosophy. For example, Indian philosophical traditions encourage ethical living, tolerance, and spiritual inquiry. Concepts like dharma, karma, and ahimsa. So they guide social conduct. Then can we write that we have constitutional and institutional support also? That Article 29 and 30 they safeguard cultural and educational rights of communities. The conclusion we can write that Indian society is unique not because it resists change, but because it integrates change without cultural rupture. That India's pluralistic ethos, strong social institution, and adaptive traditions have ensured cultural continuity while also allowing dynamic evolution. So we have done first question, second question, third question. Now let's look at the fourth question, that customs and traditions suppress reason leading to obscurantism. Do you agree? So obscurantism is the practice of deliberately hindering the spread of knowledge in order to keep people ignorant. तो उस क्वेश्चन का हम इंट्रोडक्शन कैसे लिख सकते हैं? The customs and traditions are integral to social life, but when rigidly followed, they may hinder rational thinking. So इस क्वेश्चन में हमें एक बैलेंस्ड ओपिनियन देना है. So first point क्या हो गया? Perpetuation of social evils. Practices like sati, untouchability, child marriage, they were maintained in the name of tradition despite being irrational and oppressive. Then encouragement of superstitions, for example witchcraft, then ritualistic cures, they discourage scientific thinking and rational decision making. Then gender inequality की अगर हम बात करें, has been a patriarchal society, so they have restricted women's education, then property rights, then there are restrictions on mobility, that there is resistance to social change. For example, blind adherence to customs often hinders reform. Fifth point can be hindrance to scientific temper. So rituals such as avoiding vaccination, so we had seen examples during COVID-19, they can negatively impact our health and development. Now if we talk about arguments against the statement, first point can be that traditions can be dynamic also. For example, Indian society has a history of reforming traditions through rational interpretation. For example, Bhakti and Sufi movements, they challenged ritualism and caste discrimination. Then there has been a role of reformers, for example Raja Ram Mohan Roy, Jyotiba Phule. Then institutional checks की बात करें, so we have Article 17 and Article 51A. Article 17 में क्या बोला गया है? Abolition of untouchability. And Article 51A का H वाला जो पार्ट है उसमें क्या बोला गया है? It talks about scientific temper. So they have reduced obscurantist influence. Then ethical and cultural values की बात करें, so many tradition promote values like non-violence, compassion, social cohesion without suppressing reasons. एक रीज़न और लिख सकते हैं कि इंटीग्रेशन विद मॉडर्निटी. सो ये कैसे होता है? एजुकेशन, रोल ऑफ एजुकेशन, देन रोल ऑफ मीडिया, देन लॉ, दे अलाउ ट्रेडिशंस टू को एग्जिस्ट विद रीजन एंड प्रोग्रेस. और इसका कंक्लूजन हम लिख सकते हैं, सो कस्टम्स एंड ट्रेडिशंस डू नॉट इनहेरेंटली suppress reason. It is rigid and unquestioned adherence that can lead to obscurantism. So fourth question हमसे हो गया. Now if we talk about fifth question, why is India considered a subcontinent? Elaborate on your answer. जैसे कि geographical distinctiveness of India. For example, India has unique natural borders, Indian Ocean in the south, then Himalayas in the north, then which separate us from rest of Asia. Then we also have tectonic identity. The Indian landmass sits on Indian plate, which is distinct from Eurasian plate, defining it as a separate geological unit. Then size and diversity. So India का जो vast size है, जैसे कि terrains, mountains, plains, deserts and coast and ecological zones, they make it larger and more diverse than typical countries. Then if we talk about cultural and historical richness, countries like Nepal, Bhutan, Bangladesh, even Pakistan, so we share historical and cultural linkages because पहले सब कुछ इंडिया ही था. So it further reinforces the concept of Indian subcontinent as a region. जैसे कि इंडियन सबकॉन्टिनेंट में नेपाल भी आता है, भूटान भी आता है, पाकिस्तान भी आता है, बांग्लादेश भी आता है, श्रीलंका भी आता है. So they are all part of Indian subcontinent. देन अगर हम पॉलिटिकल एंड एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव आइडेंटिटी की बात करें, सो इंडिया हैज़ हिस्टोरिकली बीन ट्रीटेड एज अ सिंगल पॉलिटिकल यूनिट डिस्पाइट मल्टीपल किंगडम्स एंड एम्पायर. And then after, when British colonial administration was also there, so they also recognized it as a subcontinent due to its vast size and diversity. Then we had regional integration through trade, culture and politics, which reinforced its identity as a unified entity. Then even modern India continues to function as a federation with a strong central integration. अगर हम strategic importance की बात करें, so India is very strategically located. जैसे कि इंडिया के पास डायरेक्ट एक्सेस है टुवर्ड्स गल्फ ऑफ ऑर्मुज, देन गल्फ ऑफ एडन, रेड सी, देन वी ऑल्सो हैव एक्सेस टू मोजाम्बिक चैनल, देन स्ट्रेट ऑफ मलक्का. सो दीज आर ऑल द पार्ट ऑफ इंडियन ओशन. ऑल्सो एक्ट एज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट ट्रेड रूट्स. मतलब अगर यहाँ पे ब्लॉकेज कोई कर दे तो ट्रेड का बहुत ज़्यादा नुकसान हो जाएगा अक्रॉस द वर्ल्ड, अक्रॉस द ग्लोब. For example, if you look at the world map, so China exclusively uses Strait of Malacca to trade with Africa and other continents. Because my optional is geography, so there is a theory called heartland and rimland theory. So India forms the part of rimland, and Spikeman, who formed the rimland theory, had said that the power which controls the rimland will control the world. So we have completed fifth question also.